honeys, welcome back to another episode of Tipsy Talk Tuesday. We have Rebekah. We're so excited. I can't wait to get into this episode, and cheers.
Cheers.
All right, so we're both car wives, in case you guys didn't know.
We are. We're like the poster girls for a car wife.
We really are.
We couldn't be more car wife if we tried.
And I feel like not a lot of you guys really know what that entails, because I had no idea until I got with Matthew. And it's a lot more than they tell you.
Yeah, no, I was...
There's not like books.
I'm always surprised. I learn something new every day.
If they would write books on this, it would really help some of us.
Yeah, it would be a really long book. There's a lot to learn.
Oh, yeah. They don't... I feel like it's a hobby that you meet a guy and that you're like, oh, what are your interests? And they say,
It's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle.
Okay. You have been in this wood.
But yes.
Alrighty then. You can tell her husband has made her say these things in the past. No, I'm just kidding. We love Kevin. He's a great husband. But it's just like when you meet a guy and you say, oh, what do you like to do in your spare time? Or whatever. And they say that they have a car that they work on. You don't really know what that means.
You should run.
Like,
No, I'm going to be nice today.
we're not choosing violence.
No.
There's just, it could mean so many things because I feel like there's many different versions of it. Like, do they just work on old things that never, like beater cars that they never turn into anything?
Right.
Do they turn them into show cars?
Do they have one car?
Do they have 5?
Do they have 7? The possibilities are endless.
Okay, let's start here. How many cars did Kevin have when you met him?
He had 2. He had 2 cars when I met him.
Okay, one was his daily and one was the show car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had the Jetta when I met him.
Okay.
That was his prized possession.
Yes.
And then he had like a daily driver car that I was allowed to use when I was trying to move here. It was a terrible car. Sorry, Kevin. It was like the biggest piece of shit.
Really?
And I would drive it around to go to job interviews because I was trying to move to Florida.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of nice that he had 2 cars. At the time, I didn't see that as a red flag. I was like,
No.
this is great. 2 cars, 2 people. Like, this is awesome.
Makes sense.
This is awesome.
It makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
No.
How many, okay, so you guys have been together for how many years?
We've been together since 2018, so
Okay.
that's what, 5
years?
Yeah.
So,
Almost 6.
oh yeah, almost 6.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What, how many cars over those 6 years has he had?
Okay, let me see if I can remember all of these. So, we started with the Jetta.
Okay.
And the beater car. I don't even remember what it was, but it was blue.
Okay.
And things escalated very quickly. So we went from, Kevin had the Jetta, and then after that, I want to say he got a Corvette.
Okay.
He had a Tacoma at one point.
Random.
I had a Chevy Cruze, which everyone in the car community watching loves to make fun of me for. I was roasted, and I don't think that was called for years.
I have no comment.
There's nothing ever wrong with
I
that.
have a Ford Fusion. I can't ever see anything.
Honestly, that Chevy Cruze was the best car that I ever had.
It was probably the most reliable
And
car you guys ever had.
It had less problems than any carboy car I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
But they hated it. So I had the Chevy Cruze. Then he had the Tacoma. He had the Corvette. He had the Jetta. He had that random blue car. I'm forgetting some. I'm definitely forgetting some. Oh, he had the E38. So that's the thing. When you're a car wife, you learn all kinds of like letters and numbers.
Boat?
It was a BMW.
So the one time I called it the boat, Kevin's face like lit up. Because when I first met Kevin, he was at a shop in Orlando and he was working on the car. And it was a bad day for me. I wasn't feeling well. I was kind of just like, get your shit, Matthew, and let's go. He was getting wheels and I was like, I'm done. And there was some guy in a car the whole time, like ripping apart something. I thought, I don't know,
some
maybe
random ginger.
Yeah. And the guy that owned the shop was there, and I was like, just not in a good mood because I was angry and I was just not feeling well. And when we left, I was like, who was that? And he's like, oh, that's Kevin. And I'm like, okay, I don't know who that is, but like whatever. And he's like, oh, they called it the boat. And I was like, okay, so that was the only name I ever heard of it. And then when we met you guys at Fix Fest, me and Becca's friendship started of us talking shit.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you
That's
who
our
we
love
are.
story.
That's who we are as people. And then our fiancés walk up together and we're both like,
Oh, we were at a car show, right?
Yes.
We were at a car show, and the line for the food trucks was like 2
Oh
hours
my
long.
God.
Like 2 hours long.
oh my God.
And so I just happened to be standing right
Yeah.
behind you, right? Or were you behind me?
I think I was behind you.
Yeah, and I was standing in line by myself.
Yeah.
And I heard
The boys
you
had wandered away.
and Matthew talking, and I was just sort of like, the boys wandered off, and then I turned around to you because you said something that I was like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
haha, I agree. I don't know. We were like probably joking about car boys.
Probably.
Honestly.
I mean,
And so we became friends, and the boys walked over, and they were like, you guys know each other? And
we
I was
were
like,
like,
you
you
guys
know each
know each other? So, yeah, instantly friends.
Yeah.
I got a little off topic, though. I didn't mean to do
that's okay. No, it's fine. That was when I first
When
saw
you
the
met
boat.
Kevin, the
Yeah,
boat, the
and
boat.
that's when I was like, "This is the boat." So then the other day we were in Orlando with you guys, and I said something about it. And Kevin was like, "Oh, you called it the boat," and Matthew was like, "He loved that."
He loved that car.
And
He
I was like,
loved that
"Oh,"
car.
but he got rid of it.
So I liked that car too because it actually, fun fact, it had a car phone. Like that was a thing when, it came out. And he worked really hard to restore that car and everything that goes into that, paint correction and wheels and tires and all of the stuff.
Yes.
For months to get it ready for the show that we met at.
Yeah.
And he drove that car there actually, but he worked on it for months and months and months. We hadn't really driven it. And so when we left for that show, that was the first time he had really driven it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting in the back seat and him and his friend were in the front seat. And within like 30 seconds of getting on I-4, the worst road in the universe,
Yeah.
a rock flew up and hit the windshield. And I was like, shit, maybe he won't notice. Maybe he won't notice. And then his friend goes, oh, a rock just hit your windshield and cracked it. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Please shut up. So it was horrible. Thankfully, somebody kind of like helped fix it at the show, but like
Still.
just my luck. But he loved that car.
I feel like I remember that being a topic of conversation, that it was getting fixed.
Yeah, because he had it kind of like up by one of the
Yeah.
booths, and so it was like a whole scene. Somebody had to come over and do some magic on the
Yeah.
windshield, but that was his prized possession. And then he wanted to get an M3, and I was like, we have more cars than people already, so you have to get rid of one
Yeah.
before we buy another car. So that one had to go. And as a car wife, you can understand when the guy came to buy the car, I saw that he had a Rotiform shirt on, so I knew he was like into
Decent,
cars.
yeah.
I was like, oh, this is perfect. I was
Yeah.
like, do you want some other shit? You can have these
wanna just go
wheels.
through the
I got some
garage real
tires.
quick?
Take whatever you want.
Yeah, take your pick. It's all up for grabs.
So I loved it when he sold that car. We got rid of a lot that day.
that was good.
Yeah.
You cleared it out.
Instantly brought another car right back in to replace it. But
So we're on number 7. Was that the last one he bought so far?
yeah, so we stopped at the M3, and then I kind of went on a little car rampage.
Yeah, you got a new.
Well, I got rid of my Chevy Cruze, and I bought a Fiat.
Okay, so
Okay, in my defense, it was the bigger, like the SUV Fiat.
yeah,
But I thought I was roasted for the Chevy Cruze. Imagine how roasted I was for the Fiat.
so I remember we obviously weren't super close when you bought the Fiat because we'd only met like one time.
Yeah.
And I remember you posted that you got it. And I don't really know what they looked like on the inside, but it just so happened our neighbor at our old apartment had one and they parked
God.
next to us. So one day I was like, let's see what this looks like. So I looked inside and I was like, no, she didn't. And I was like, she did not buy one of these. I was like, Matthew, Kevin let her buy one of
Oh,
these
he
cars."
didn't let me.
And I was like, and he was like, she's a very independent woman. She'll do what she wants. And I was like, I understand. I do. I get it. But like, these are questionable choices.
Look, I thought it was cute from the outside.
I mean, it is a
and-
cute little bubble, I feel
Yeah,
like.
it was like a cute, like it was a small SUV, and I remember the day I got rid of the Chevy Cruze, just because everyone had been shitting on me for that car for so long. I posted it, and I was like,
You're like, I'm done.
I got rid of the Chevy Cruze today, but I bought something that you're all gonna hate even more.
I remember this post.
And when I posted that picture of the Fiat, I have never got so much hate on the internet in my life. That must be what it feels like to get canceled.
If anyone's ever experienced it, it's Becca.
Yeah. So I bought the Fiat. I refused to drive it home from the dealership. We bought it down here in West Palm.
Really?
And I was like, I don't want to drive it. I hate driving anyway, so
Yeah.
I made Kevin drive it home.
Yeah.
And then the next day I drove it, and instantly the check engine light came on.
Oh, good
Instantly.
Lord.
And I was like, oh my god, I'm going to eat my words. Everyone's already making fun of me.
I feel like the Facebook post already blew up.
I was like, I
Shit.
can already hear the
comments.
Instagram comments. So I only had that car for a couple of months, and now I have a Volkswagen Tiguan.
Which I'm sure he appreciates.
He approves of, yeah. And honestly, I didn't even know it was special when I found it. I was looking my dad has a Tiguan, so I drove his and I really liked it, and I was like, I think that I could go.
Yeah.
I wanted a smaller mid-size SUV. So I went for the Tiguan, and I was looking at them all online, and I just thought mine was a really cute color, to be honest with you.
You were
I was
like, "This is
I
cute."
love the blue, and I sent it to Kevin, and he was like, no way, that's a whatever the hell special edition. And I was like, okay, perfect, you're happy, I'm happy, and we bought it.
That works. So we're at 8 cars.
Yes.
8 cars in 6 years. That is a lot. That's the thing that you don't know when you get with a car guy is you oh, okay, you guys like cars, that's cool, you fix them up. You don't realize how many cars they go through. Growing up, we bought a car and we ran that baby till the wheels fell off.
It.
You never traded it in. That was your car for life. My parents have had cars that should have been given up a while ago. No, it still runs. It's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it.
My mom literally right now drives a truck from 06, and her excuse is, well, I only go 4 miles a day to work. It's fine. My dad's Chevy is my mom keeps telling him he drives to West Palm from work from here every day, and she's like, listen, our mechanic told us to sell it. We should probably get rid of it. It's not that safe anymore. And he's like, no. It's fine. The dogs fit this. And it's that's how I was raised too. And so I have my little Ford Fusion that I'm we're going to run that baby till the wheels fall off. Then I meet him. He had a Jetta when I met him. Sold it within a year, I think. Actually, maybe even less than that. I don't think he had that car a year. Sold it and got the truck. And I was like, what?
That was fast.
Yeah, and then he was like, well, I don't really like the truck that much. Maybe I'll trade that in too. And I was like, you just got the truck. Well, I only got it to trailer the car to hell. And I'm like, so you bought a vehicle to They talk about girl math.
Carboy math is 10 times worse.
I literally said to him, we were talking about going to Helen, and he was like, I would trailer the GTI. And I said, okay. And I was like, we don't have a truck. We have a Jetta and a Ford Fusion. I don't know what we think is trailering, but it's none of those. Yep. And he was like, well, I could buy a truck. And I was like, or we could rent a truck, or you could drive it. We could rent all of this stuff. He knew people with trailers, as they know somebody with everything. And he was like, well, maybe I'll buy a truck. Go looking the next day, buys the truck that's out there right now. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, so we bought a truck. And then we didn't even go to Helen. And I was like, so we didn't go to Helen that you bought.
But you technically saved money by buying the truck.
Apparently. And then he's like, well, I'll just sell it. We still have it 3 years later. It's still, and I'm like, so, but he's now trailered the car different places. The car has still yet to go to Helen, trailered by that truck. But I'm like, the boy math on your car logic didn't math.
2 of my other close friends are also car wives, we'll call them, and they have been victims of this carboy math too. And something that we always talk about is the way that they can rationalize any car purchase, car-related purchase. And their view is that if you sell something or list something on Facebook Marketplace, their favorite app in the world, that money replaces the other money that you're going to spend for something else. So technically it cancels out, and every car in the world is free. Every car is free.
He literally, so since we've been together, he is not as bad as Kevin. We've also not been together 6 years. We've been together 3. But, what?
I forgot about one of our cars.
Stop.
Yeah, we have a Ford Explorer sitting in front of my house.
So we're at 9.
And it's vintage, so. But yeah. No, Matt's not as bad as Kevin with the cars.
No, because since we've been together 3 years, he's bought 2 cars, which somehow we now have a Mark I Rabbit in my name.
Oh.
Let me know how that happened. Let me know how
You're an honorary car girl.
Let me know how. So literally, he had the GTI that he's had forever. He's had that car for almost 10 years, if not more. No, it is. I think it's over 10. The car itself is over 10 years.
Is that the white one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that is the show car.
Yes.
Yes. So he has that. Then I have my little Ford Fusion that he even one time was like, maybe I think I'm going to buy you the wing for the back of it. And I was like, no. That car is the most reliable car we have. Knock on some wood.
Don't start picking it apart.
Yeah, leave her alone.
And doing your air ride.
Yeah.
And lowering
he literally
it.
was like, what if we traded in and bought you like this car instead? And it was like a Tiguan or a Jet. I don't even remember. And I was like, no, leave my little Ford Fusion alone. I hate Fords. I don't really care. Leave her alone. She runs. She gets us from A to B. I've had her for 4 years. We're good.
It's like my Chevy Cruze.
Yeah, they're good.
I miss it.
They're good. They're good cars. He's like, well, your bumper, I hit someone. And my bumper has...
Someone? Or something?
I hit a pedestrian.
Oh!
On a bicycle. And I wasn't at fault. The police officer said, she was going the wrong way. You have a good day unless you want to press charges. I said, yes, ma'am.
You didn't do anything wrong.
She was going around the roundabout the wrong way in the middle of a road, and Yep.
What are you supposed to do?
That's what I said. And then we just moved in here, and you know when you move in and you have like first class security, you've got all this money saved up.
Yeah.
So we had like an extra couple $1,000, and we were like, what we should have done was saved it for our wedding. What he did was got on Facebook Marketplace and was like, look at this rabbit. And I was
Facebook Marketplace strikes again.
well, and we were hammered at a party, and I was like, that's a cool little car. Next day comes home, so I bought it. So
that's
used our joint savings and bought the fucking car, and then was like, do you want to register it in your name? Because I already have like 3 cars. And I was like, sure. I've never had a car registered in my name because I was too young. My cars are registered in my parents' names. And I was like, how the fuck did I end up with a 1980 car in my name?
So those are your 3 cars that you have now? You have 3?
Well, we have 3 in the truck.
Oh.
So we have the
3
Fusion.
cars in 1 truck?
The Fusion, the GTI, and the Rabbit, and the truck. We live in an apartment that's 2 bedrooms. You're allowed 2 parking spots, and we have 4 cars.
So our current house has a detached garage, which is just the home of the M3.
Yes.
That thing never sees the light of day.
He doesn't drive it?
No, he doesn't drive it. He drives my car. Of course, we have 3 cars, and he drives my car everywhere. He didn't when I had the Chevy Cruze.
Oh, yeah, because you couldn't ever be seen dead
Could not
in one
be
of
seen
those.
in that. Don't want to be caught dead in the Chevy Cruze.
Oh, my God. The Facebook post.
Oh, yeah. It'd be so embarrassing. He'd be canceled immediately. So the M3 lives in the detached garage. And then we have a 1-car garage connected to our house, which is where my car lives. And the Explorer just lives outside.
So does he not drive the Explorer?
Occasionally, it's an older car.
What's its purpose?
It was from his grandparents.
Okay.
So it's, I think, somewhat sentimental. Also, apparently it's really cool to people because one day he actually thought about selling it and he listed it on Facebook Marketplace, as they do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And started getting a ton of offers. And then I think when he got so many offers and he realized that people liked the car, he decided to keep it. Now we're moving. Mm-hmm. It's gotta go.
Yeah, no, it gotta go.
Because we're getting, we're not gonna have room for it. It's a different setup.
Yeah, no.
He wants a golf cart now.
Is he becoming a golf cart dad?
He's in his 30s. He's getting old. So he wants a golf cart. So the Explorer has to go.
Okay, but like you can't have a golf cart and your fun cars. This is not how life works. So pick one. That's just like
there has to be a limit somewhere.
there is. And like when we're talking about moving and building a house, he's always like, I want to have like lots of land, and I'm like, why? And he's like, well, there's going to be like a massive garage, like the size of our house, detached on the side. And I'm like, we have 4 vehicles. The car that I primarily drive will be one next to the house because I'm not parking over here and no. And he's like, well, for car parts. For what? We got our old, like in our old apartment, we didn't have a garage and there was no way for us to get one. Like you either had an apartment with one or you didn't. Here they're detached and you can like rent them out monthly, which is what we do now.
You can get it separate.
Yeah, that's what we do now. But in the old place, his car stayed at my parents' house because God forbid it was outside. God forbid. Now my car, my little rabbit, rots away. But it's fine. She's great. Anyways, our old apartment, because we didn't have like a garage, all of the car parts were just stored in the extra rooms and the office. And then it got so bad, he's a mechanic, as we know. I got this wheel from work. For what, sweetheart? Because we don't need it. Well,
I have a random wheel in my house too. 1 wheel.
It's a table. He made it. He got a brake rotor, a brake, a wheel, and a piece of glass.
Now the cars are becoming furniture.
It is in that back office. And I was like, it wasn't built in the old place. And he's like, I need to bolt it together. And I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with this? It's going to be decor. I said, I will be damned if my house decor is car parts. It'll be in my man cave. His man cave is our spare bedroom. The wheel as a table, which, by the way, weighs about 100 pounds. If you ever try to fucking move
They're
it.
heavy.
I tried to move it.
I tried to move it to hide it.
I tried to move it to put a baby to sleep, to put out the futon on New Year's, and scratch the fuck out of my floor. So if you're in my apartment, don't listen.
We're fighting for our lives over here.
It's rough.
I'm curious, like, what was his apartment like when you moved in?
So he lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was like the one you described of your friend in Orlando. We're not going to say names, obviously, but where it was just straight upstairs. So you go upstairs, and it was like laundry room, which just had minimal stuff, and it was like a super long hallway that had nothing. Master bedroom had a bed, and it had one single, very skinny dresser. I would like to say this was not, the furniture was not placed where it should have been. The bed was against this wall. Why was the dresser not? Why was the dresser not here?
It was not feng shui.
No,
at all.
The dresser was this way, and I was like, Anyways, so that was there. The bathroom, nothing but like a toothbrush and like a hairbrush, and his shower just had basics. Closet was barely used. So the kitchen was just basic necessities. There was no decor. I'm lying. In his bathroom, there was a picture of a turtle. Don't ask. We still have it because we went to Old Time Pottery down here. He went in one day, found this picture of a turtle, hung it above the bathtub. Don't ask. We still have it. It's in the guest bathroom. I don't know. That was his favorite picture. That was all that he had. Then you went into the living room, and it was just car posters and car posters and car posters. And he had a side table, and it was his car. Then he had, in the back rooms, one had a bed that was just an old bed that he'd had for a while, which we had to get rid of for obvious reasons because, who slept in that bed. So that bed got in the trash. But it was just a guest bed, and there was nothing else in there but a bed. Nothing else, just a bed. It wasn't even made. Then
there's a lot to unpack there.
The office had a desk, his gaming chair, a monitor that was never turned on that he ended up selling to his friend, and that was about it. And some storage containers with more posters of cars plastered on the wall. Oh, and I'm sorry, a key rack to hang his car keys.
For the many car keys.
The key rack that was shaped like his car. That was welded.
Custom made.
Oh yeah, welded to look like his GTI.
Of course.
Might I add.
Of course.
That was what his apartment looked like. And I was just like, yeah, this is gonna...
You had a little work to do.
Oh my God.
When I moved in with Kevin, it was sort of a similar experience. He had the typical, like, single guy, navy blue sheets and a plaid comforter.
What the fuck is with the navy blue sheets?
It has a chokehold on
What
you,
is
man.
with the... Let me know why I just got to throw away the navy blue sheets when we moved here. Because I was like, these are never going on the bed.
No. God
Navy
knows
blue?
what happened with the navy blue sheets and the plaid comforter combo. I don't understand.
Chills, look at this. Chills.
So we had the navy blue sheets and the plaid comforter combo, of course. And then in his kitchen, he was in like he's still kind of in his gym workout phase.
Okay, fair.
And I remember going into the kitchen and just being like, what do you eat?
The fridge is empty.
The only thing in his kitchen was salt and pepper, frozen chicken breasts, and then in the pantry he had pre-workout and popcorn. That was it.
The essentials, I see. I will tell you, men will feed themselves the most bland and simple meal you have ever seen in your life. If you ever go out of town and you notice what they eat, when I was on my bachelorette, you sent me a picture and I was like, I am shocked you even cooked dinner and didn't like call in pizza or throw a frozen pizza in the oven. And it was just rice, some sausage, and one of those frozen vegetable packs thrown in the microwave.
Yes.
And I was like, seasonings? No. Okay.
Well, it was great because like the bar was so low for me, so everything that I cooked, he was like, "This is amazing." I'm like, yeah,
you're like a chef when
pretty
you meet
good
a man.
in the kitchen.
When a man lives on his own and he's not, because they also, it's just like it's as bad as girl dinner. Like when your man goes out of town and you just heat up some pizza rolls in the oven, or you eat like girls eat the most random shit. Like I'll eat like the like frozen wontons, throw some of them in the air fryer, and like that's dinner. I don't care. A side of potato chips, we're good.
I'll like eat an avocado with a spoon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But like men, they don't even like. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll try to cook myself something nutritious, but like there's no thought. It's like some chicken and rice, and it's the most bland dish you've ever seen in your life.
No
and
flavor.
You're like,
oh no, hot sauce.
I was gonna say hot sauce or ranch.
Yeah, we love them.
We do. I mean, we do. But
I feel like both of our husbands are very like golden retriever.
Oh my God.
Energy. It's like the black cat and golden retriever combo.
I feel like it's like German Shepherd.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is, because it's like when they're around us, they're just like, okay, like
they have that sweet side to
yeah,
them. They're
like
the nicest ever.
But then you just see them and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? Like, thought process, none.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
Yeah. Give it another 3 years and you'll really be like, whoa.
And they're so easily influenced.
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad. Like, when he's around certain friends, I'm like, please don't say
Well, so recently, one of Kevin's friends bought a car, and I didn't support this decision. And Zach, if you're listening to this, or Bianca, I had Bianca's side. I took the girl's side. I was like, he shouldn't buy another car. Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. But when he went and he, of course, bought the car, he sent me a picture of it, and in the background, I just saw Kevin standing behind the car like this. And I was like, oh, he's there enabling you, influencing you.
He is approving.
Hive mind with the cars. All it takes is one car boy to tell another car boy, you should buy it.
That is literally, it's also the problem we have with Kevin and Matthew right now. If they have a bad decision, they just text each other, and they've gotten like, they're little besties over the past like 6 months.
They are.
And I don't know what happened, because
we were friends first.
We were. I would just like to point that out. But they will literally have like a bad idea, and they'll just text each other and be like, I'm being bad, what should I do? And they're like, 100% do it. And then it's just like, the wife said no, it doesn't matter.
You know,
Kevin said yes, Ashley, I don't care. And I'm like,
I would love the internet's opinion on this, because actually both of our husbands think they can land an airplane. Should we go there?
We should go there, because let me just say, I was at Kaylee's wedding, and we were seated next to a couple, and Matthew and the girl's husband, one of the other girls, her car like died on her on the way over, and they're like, what happened? And she was like, I think I ran out of oil. So Matthew was like, let's fucking go. So him and his name was Dodge, they were like, women, let's go put oil in your fucking car. Like, how are you getting home? So they went outside. So I looked at this girl and I was like, you need to ask your husband when he comes back about landing an airplane. She's like, why? So I filled her in really quickly, and I was like, no, like, you have to. And she's like, okay, okay.
Says.
And I was like, and she's like, all right. So they came back, asked him, the guy, without fail, yeah. And I was like,
where do men get the confidence that they think they can land a commercial airplane?
We asked, or no, you asked Matthew when we were on our way home from the wedding, right? This is when this started.
I've had this fight 100 times. But so when you guys were there, I was like, surely Matthew will back me up.
Yes, this started. She had asked Kevin, and Kevin wholeheartedly believed he could.
100%
So she's like, let's ask Matthew. So she asked him, and he didn't even think
flinch
about it. He just was like, yeah. And now him and Kevin are on this whole thing. They posted it on Facebook. Did you see?
Yes.
They're trying to buy a fucking airplane.
Yes. And then his mom's in on it. You could try to land it. I was like,
my dad. We went to dinner.
The parents support them.
We went to dinner with my dad and my mom the other day, and my dad literally is sitting there talking about, there's this little airplane that's only this amount of money. We could buy it. And like, my dad's like wanting to buy an airplane, and Matthew's like, I'll fly it. And I'm like,
my father-in-law is a pilot. And so I was like, surely he's a pilot. He knows how complicated this is. He'll have my back. Well, no. I was like, I called him up and I was like, Kevin thinks he could land an airplane, thinking we were going to like laugh about it together. And he was like, oh, yeah, when he was a kid, you know, I showed him this cardboard cutout of a
when
cockpit.
He was a child.
Kevin is so confident he could land an airplane. And I'm like, you know it's not genetic, right?
It's not one of those things that just like, my dad did this, I know how to do it. No, you have to go to school.
But they get the confidence because all of our parents agree to. Well, did you think my dad was agreeing with them that night? I felt like he
kind of did, but he was also kind of like
impartial. He didn't really say much.
He didn't. He was just like,
he didn't want to take sides.
It felt like he was on their side a little bit with he understood their confidence, but he was also like, I wouldn't get in the plane with you if you were flying it. It was like that. Like, he was just like, okay, yeah, but then he was like, I mean, I'm not. If it says, if we're ever on a plane, the four of us, and they say, pilots down, we need someone to fly it, and the two of them stand up, pass me the fucking
I'm
parachute
jumping.
off of it. Open the door. Remember that was at Alaskan Airlines where the door flew off?
I'd be jumping.
Out the fucking
yeah,
door.
I might as
Like,
well skydive for the first time ever.
Yeah, never
Like,
done it. Terrified. Out the door before Matthew and Kevin are landing a fucking airplane.
If they're gonna land the airplane, I'm gonna say, I love you, I'll give you a kiss goodbye, and I'm gonna go jump out of the airplane
Then
now.
they referenced it to the guy that literally was like on a suicide mission.
Yes!
And I'm like, you were referencing this to someone who crashed a plane intentionally to end his own life, saying
was
that you
wild.
could land a plane?
That was wild. They had a few too many Michelob Ultras that night.
These boys and their Mick Ultras.
Their favorite
Every
beverage in the
single
world.
time we go out and he's like, I should get some Mick Ultras in memory of Kevin. And the other day, because
Us with tequila.
us in Casa Amigos.
Yeah, literally.
They
Us
were-
and Sprite and cranberry.
They were like, or Kevin was supposed to be here. He couldn't be here. He had to go on a work trip.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's so rude. They couldn't wait till tomorrow. But
Horrible.
anyways, he could have been here. His flight got delayed like 5 times. But anyways, we're not going to talk about it. So Matthew intentionally bought Mick Ultras to like for when he got here because he was like, I got to have a drink. And like he was drinking them obviously, but he's like, oh, I'm going to save like obviously a bunch for when Kevin comes so we can go have a drink. And then we found out that Kevin couldn't come. And I swear this man cracked like 12 and he was like... And I was like,
The bromance is real.
it is. And I just like to remind them because everyone, like, I'll tell them all the time, and I'm like, they aren't my friends, they're your friends because we met them. They're your car friends, and I know their wives because of you. But I'm like, I will hold on to the fact that Becca was my friend first.
Totally.
And now we're closer than you and Kevin ever were.
Totally,
So
yeah.
I'm going to die on that hill.
I moved here for Kevin. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know anyone except the car group, and then for a while I was kicked out of the car group, so I didn't really.
I feel like you're forever getting kicked out, brought back in, kicked out.
Yeah,
The car people are very bipolar.
that's true.
But also trusting ghettos in car world is hard.
It is
Because you never know what you're getting.
I found a few solid girls.
It's hard.
From the car group,
Yeah.
who have like been here from day one. You're the only girl who I've like met on my own, venturing out to the food trucks at the car show. I was like, I'm gonna be really brave today.
Yeah.
And so no, I do consider you like my friend outside
Yeah.
of cars.
Yeah.
Even if it weren't for cars, we would have been friends.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
no, I think that's special.
Girl, we love you. It's great. But, like, we're friends before they were friends.
I have to say,
And
though,
we're friends outside of the car world.
That's so true. Everyone who I met at your wedding, though, I was
Yeah.
like, these are genuinely amazing people.
Yeah.
Like, I loved your friends. We left, and we've gone to a lot of, like, not that your wedding was a car event.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, we met at a car show, so I
We've
get
gone
it.
Yeah, we've gone to a lot of car events, and we always leave with, like, a certain level of, like,
Yeah.
there was this drama, or these people, or whatever.
Yeah.
We left your wedding, and I was like, I loved everyone
Yeah.
there. And Kevin felt the same way. Like, you have such a good group of friends down here. You do.
I tried really hard. I'm very picky with my friends. I can be very picky with... Because I've had friends that you thought were, like... I don't know, like, I'm very, like, once we're friends, like, I have your back for life. Like, I don't
Totally.
care what it is. Like, we're friends. Someone calls me and says, your friend said this. No, the fuck she didn't. Hang the phone up. Okay,
Yep.
what happened? Like, I will never not take your back no matter what it is. Now, I'll call you, and if you tell me, well, I did some shady shit, that's fine. We're not going to tell her that. I still got your back. Like, that's the type of friend, like, I have your back no matter what. And I've had friends that, like, I thought that was reciprocated,
Yeah.
and then it, like, turns around and it's not. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm, like, very picky with people. So it's like when you meet someone that you're like, oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to find that, especially like when you're older.
Totally.
Meeting friends isn't easy.
After college, like, finding girlfriends is so hard.
Well, you don't just hang out at bars every weekend like you
Right.
would in college. And you're
Right.
also not that drunk stupor where you're just like, oh,
Right.
right. Like, you don't get blackout drunk like you did then. I mean, maybe every now and then. But, like,
And we also both work in industries that are mostly men.
yeah, I
So
work
it's-
with 3 men every day. And
like-
all my coworkers are way older than me.
I barely have female coworkers. It's really hard to meet women
Yeah.
my own age. And so when you do, you really want to be friends.
you
but,
really cling, and then you're
Yes.
like, wait.
But like a girl friendship breakup sometimes actually hurts even worse than an actual relationship breakup.
Yeah.
It's awful.
When you have those friends that they just blindside you and they, like, backstab you, you kind of, from men, sometimes you're kind of like, he's a guy. Get it. But
it's
as
expected.
it's so sad. But as a ghetto, you're like, why the fuck?
It's
like,
painful.
yeah, because you're like, thought you were girls. I
Yeah.
thought you had me. Like, that's so fucking weird.
Well, my friendships that have ended, I actually think I dwell on or think about more than my past relationships are ancient history
Yeah,
to me now.
you
But
don't
the
care.
friendships that I lost, I still like more in my old friendships.
It's also just the girl friendship is just so, I don't know, it's so special because your guys are so close. You become
Yeah.
like sisters sometimes, not all the time, but like there are those friendships where you're like, no, they're like my sister, and like another
Yeah.
life we would have been sisters, and
Totally.
then if they backstab you or whatever, you're just like,
My best friend in high school, the same thing happened. She really betrayed me,
Mm-hmm.
and I never looked back at it. And I actually think that, you know, the friendship ended right before going into college. So I
Yeah.
kind of went into my adult life with this a
yeah.
certain level of like suspicion, or
Yeah.
like I had a wall up for a lot of women because that was the girl I had been closest to
Yeah.
out of anyone. And once that happened, I found it really hard to make close female friendships as an adult.
like everyone's always like, oh, I've had this childhood best friend for like ever, and like, yeah, that's great. Like, I have a childhood best friend.
I
You
love
have-
her.
Rachel, we all love her on the
She's
podcast.
so
I talk
sweet.
about her all of the time. I'm starting to figure out how to get her on here, like virtually, but I'm going back, so we might figure something out. But you have a really long friendship with your best friend. But it's like the girls that you also meet when you're a little older. It's also nice.
Yeah.
Like, I have Jackie.
Yeah.
I have you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's also nice to have that friendship where you're like, we didn't know each other through everything, but it's like, we
It's
know
a
each other.
different kind
It's
of bond,
different,
yeah.
but it's also nice to meet that person because it's just like they kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting it, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's like a breath of fresh air sometimes.
It totally is.
You meet someone later in life, and you guys have already went through a bunch of shit, and then you can be like, oh my god, you went through the same shit. Let's bond over it.
We
Let's talk
bonded
shit."
over that.
Let's talk so much shit. Are you on the same level I'm on? No? Okay, we can't be friends.
We had way too much in common last time we went out. I mean,
It's scary sometimes.
yeah.
But it's also good.
Also, I want to say, you were the first time I broke dry January. No, I did one time before I went out with you, but that didn't really count. The first time I really like broke dry January, and I had been sober for like 3 weeks.
So let's, because the last Tipsy Talk episode, I was all in and you're like, fuck. I was like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but I am not participating. Becca was so,
I was committed.
she was. So let's talk about it. How
So-
was it?
Okay, so I travel a lot, like between work, between our families all live in different states, and so the holidays are always a really chaotic time, and I always end up partying too hard, drinking too much, eating too much. So like January 1st rolls around and I'm always like ready for a cleanse.
Yes.
And I just wanted to kind of challenge myself, honestly. I have, this year I've been like trying to focus on losing a little bit of weight and just like being healthier overall. And so I did. I was like, I'm going to do dry January. And the second that I said that, like on Instagram or said it publicly, I was like, shit, now I have to like actually do it.
People are going to hold me accountable.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the first week, all I could think about was drinking, just because I wasn't drinking. At
You
5
log
o'clock,
off.
I want a glass of wine.
You're just like,
yeah.
oh, today sucked, a glass of wine. And
Yes.
especially when you know you're like withholding it from yourself, you're
Totally.
just like, I want
Totally.
it.
But week 2 and week 3, like, were way easier, and that's when I started to see the results, and I actually made that TikTok
Yeah.
about it, where I was like, I don't have dark circles under my eyes. I felt like I lost a lot of the, like, puffiness in my face. I had more energy. But after 3 weeks, I was like, I'm good. Like,
Sometimes you just need that little
I
break.
just needed a reset.
You do. It doesn't need to be a whole month.
Yeah, and so I started going out again, you know, drinking here and there. What I will say about my experience, though, is it kind of reset my drinking habits for me. And recently I went on a work trip, and that was my first work trip where I didn't, like, wake up severely hungover every day. And I also didn't have any anxiety. Like, in the
That's
past,
nice.
I would go on these work trips, and it's like you go out with everyone, and you go to the bars, and you get super drunk, and then the next day you have anxiety. You're like, oh God, what did I say?
What? Yeah.
Who do people like me? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So it was nice to, like,
Not having the brain fog and...
totally. So I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love to party.
Yeah, we're still gonna do it.
But the little break for me was like a good reset.
yeah.
Well, I loved the break, and I probably needed it a little bit. Those 3 weeks were up, and I was like, yeah, January's over in my book.
Yeah. And get back on track. So when you first met Kevin,
Yeah.
what was the, like, car scene like when you were first? Was he really heavily in the car scene? And has it, like, died down? Or is it pretty much the same, that adjustment for you?
Yeah, so he was definitely way more involved in the car scene when I met him. I actually met him through the car scene, through some mutual friends.
Yeah.
And over time, like we've been very like hot and cold with the car community. There have been times where like we go to all of the car shows, and we go to Helen, and
like
we do
5
all of
times
the things
a year or whatever.
We're hanging out at shops. And then there have been times where, sort of like with Try January, I was like, I just need a break. And it's never because, you know, we hate anybody or there's like, we're done with cars or whatever. It's just, I find that the car culture can be very extreme one way or the other. And so we have kind of been those people who were always like super in or super out. Right now we're kind of in a, you know, like a good place with it. He has his car that he loves. We're building a house right now, and I think when it's done and he has the space for it, he'll probably get into it again.
Yeah.
Because right now we just don't have a ton of space for it.
Yeah, it's just not. He's not something he's like super excited to work on and bring to a show.
Yeah, and I mean, like he's done some stuff to his car, but like right now he just like physically doesn't have that much space to like drive it or like work on it. Whatever the hell that means. I don't know exactly what he wants to do with the car. But I do think once we move, we'll probably get back into it a little bit more. So I would say like right now, like compared to when I met him, he was like deep into the car scene. Now he's like a few levels removed from it, probably.
I think when they get into a relationship, they pull back a little bit, which it's their own choice.
Yeah.
Like you choose to prioritize not your car anymore, but they still go to things. And then it's also just like part of growing up.
Yeah.
Like, you get older, your life, you're not 18 or 21 where your life revolved around your car.
Well, also, for us, you have to think, like, we were long distance when we started dating, so
you would be bored.
All of a sudden, every weekend, Kevin's flying to Nashville instead of going to a car show, and I think I got a little heat for that, too. I never forced Kevin to come to Nashville,
I
for the
feel
record.
like, so, something I've noticed in the car scene is people take it, not necessarily the people who run the car show, but people, your friends that go to it, they take it very personal.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't show up to a car show. I thought you were coming, and it's like, these aren't mandatory.
Or if you
car
leave
events.
early. That's a big
Like, it's
no.
not, like, when people find out, we haven't been to Helen since the first year I met Matthew. We went to Helen, so it's been 2 years. Last year, we were saving for the wedding. This year, we're going to be on our honeymoon the week later. Like, it's just not affordable, and I'm not trying to take that much time off work. So a lot of people are like, you guys coming to Helen? And we're like, no. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's not.
We actually went to Helen for our honeymoon, just the two of us. Like, that's how car girl I was. But, you know, it was fun. It wasn't for a car show or anything. Yeah. We were just there ourselves, and it's actually a beautiful place. But over time, you get into a relationship, and I feel like priorities kind of change.
I agree.
And I think I can confidently say I'm more important to Kevin than his cars at this point. I think I can say that.
I feel like if you got married and you're the wife, I feel like that should be the priority.
But people do take it personally, and it's hard. And, you know, I experienced that with my friend group, too. Outside of cars, people are like, you don't want to go out to drink, you don't want to go to the bars anymore, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. And, I mean, I do, but I just have this other side of my life now.
Like, you have two different... It's so different. Like, there's other things to prioritize, like when they're younger and they're single.
Yeah.
All they have is their car.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want to their car. Their money goes to their car. And, like, and I feel like some people, if they've never had relationships or some people don't prioritize their relationship over a car. And so they're just like, they don't understand it.
I've seen that happen.
Exactly. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
And people would look at me when I first came around and they didn't realize that I wasn't there for when Matthew built out his car like he did. People would be like, how did you survive the build? And I was like, first of all, he was single and there's a reason he was single.
He was very busy.
Yeah. People are like, oh, he didn't have like any, and I'm like, no, there's a reason his entire time went to that. Like, that's amazing and I'm proud of him for what he did, but like, there's a reason he was.
And I was 21 when I met Kevin, so
I was 21 when I met Matthew.
Yeah, you know, I think I was at the perfect age where I was like old enough to know what I was doing, but I was young enough to be like, whatever, I'll drive to Savannah, Georgia, and go to a car show with you. I was up for anything, and like. Now life does get busier as you get like further on in your career and you have things like houses and bills and pets and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how people do it with kids. Like if you're a parent and you're a part of this, like more power to you because
never could be me.
Could not be me.
As we say all the time, you do it first.
I have a lot of respect.
You do it first, let me know how bad it is, and then maybe I'll consider it.
If you have a kid and then a year later tell me that it's fun, maybe I'll consider, but as of right now, I'm out.
We're in the game of, are you going to do it first?
We're doing a waiting game, yeah.
Yeah, we are. We're seeing who's going to do it first to see how bad it is.
Yeah, I think I might just skip out on that little part of life.
Just skip over that speed bump. Oh no, we just decided not to have kids because that looked like a lot of work.
I love my nieces, though.
Don't get me wrong, I do. I love my niece. I love my nephew. They are amazing, but like I don't know.
The fun aunt is like my calling in life.
So much more fun.
Totally.
And
I get to give them back at the end of the night.
And it's like the people are like, when you have your own, it's different. And I'm like,
different how? Different better? Different worse?
I'm broke, and they are a lot of money. And I don't really want to give up my Starbucks and my shopping sprees and my Amazon addiction to a child for diapers.
One of my nieces is a teenager, and a few months ago we were talking about that. I was like, she asked me if I was going to have kids, and I was like, I don't know. I'm really busy being your aunt, and like it seems
a full-time gig.
It's a full-time job, and it's super expensive. And she goes, oh yeah, I am really expensive. I spend all of my parents' money. She's very self-aware.
She's like, yeah, I know.
She's like, yeah, don't do it.
Princess treatment always are out the door. And that's the thing, like, when you have kids, you want to be able to do that. So, like, and I'm not at the point where I want to give them my income for a child.
I'm not ready.
That may sound selfish, but that's just me being self-aware.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
At least I'm not bringing a baby into the world being like, yeah, I don't want to give it my money. I'm sitting here being like, I am not having a child for that sole factor that I want to be able to do my shopping sprees on House of CB and Amazon and whatever my packages that show up at the door. And I'm like, listen, I really have to be frugal with myself.
If we had kids, how would we afford more cars?
How would I afford enough tequila to keep up with the car addictions? A good bottle of tequila is $50.
Right.
Like, we go through that on a weekly basis. Not to sound like an alcoholic, but I am Scottish, and that's just in my genes. I don't know what to tell you people anymore. Like, the first time I took Matthew to Scotland, and he was like, we're drinking beer now? I'm like, yeah, better start, because we all are. I don't know about whiskey at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, babe. Let's go. Like, this is just a way of life.
How do you think Matthew has kind of adjusted to that culture?
So when I took him home, he's only been home once. Whoops. It was very funny to just watch his like facial expressions and the like, oh, this is normal. Yeah, I'll have one too. Okay. Like, but with like my parents too, like, you know, you go to his parents' house or anyone's house, it's like water is what everyone offers over here. You want a bottle of water? You want a glass of water? Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
You go to my parents' house, it depending on the time of day, it's a cup of tea. You want a cup of tea and a biscuit, or do you want a glass of wine? Do you want a drink? Like, and like, because I drink a lot of wine, and my mum's a wine lover, she'll always offer me a glass of wine. Matthew's a beer drinker, and so is my dad. They drink my cultures, just like Kevin.
They bonded.
They do. And so my dad immediately, beer? Or they know we used to drink a lot of the seltzers when they were first, like, really, really big, so my parents would literally just buy the seltzers for us coming over, and they'll keep some at the house. You know dads, when you say you like one thing and then they just buy it in bulk?
That's all they buy, yeah.
Like, when my parents found out tequila was my drink of choice, like, you know, when you're young, you go through trying all the stuff, and then when you find out, now they keep a bottle of tequila at their house.
That's so cute, though.
At all times. Yeah, and my mum drinks white wine. I drink red. She always keeps a bottle of red for me, and my dad always keeps Nick for him.
Language.
Yeah, like, and that's just it. More. Okay.
Alright, hit me with it.
Okay. What was it like, or did you know anything about cars when you met Kevin?
Not really.
So what was it like coming in knowing nothing to someone knowing what seems like everything?
Well, so when I say not really, like, there's like levels to it, right? Like, I know how to drive. I can drive manual, kind of. I'm really bad at it, but I can. And I had friends in college who were sort of into the car scene too, and so I had like lightly touched on some of the weirdness.
Yeah.
But when I met him, honestly, starting out, like when we were talking and like early on dating, cars really had nothing to do with it. Like, we didn't really talk about it. And now looking back on it, it's so funny because like his Jetta, he was so scared to open the sunroof or like mess anything up. And when
Interesting.
I was his new girlfriend, I would stand up through the sunroof. I was all over that
Didn't
car.
give a
Like,
shit.
it didn't matter. And he never, like, flinched. I mean, he was probably sweating.
But he didn't tell you, like, no.
No, he didn't freak out. And now, like, now he's very particular about his cars. He's kind of let that side show a little bit more. But it was interesting. Honestly, like, coming into it, I was like, there's this whole part of society that I never knew about. All of the car shows and the car scene and the Facebook groups and everything. So, like, it was cool. I have met a ton of people through it. It was a lot to take in.
I feel like it almost becomes not your hobby, but it's like another social activity.
Yeah.
And it's something, sometimes you can look forward to it. Like last week at Eurotripper, I was actually kind of like, this is a fun little thing. Like, because he's excited about it, and I'm excited to see him there and be happy about it. Like, it's not like I don't love the car shows, but like, it's fun for him. So like, I'll enjoy it.
And I like when we go to buy a car now, feeling really informed, and he knows what he's talking about, and I like that I've learned more about it, so I'm not totally in the dark. When I bought my last car, we were actually there for like 8 hours.
Holy shit.
Arguing with them about the clear code and the everything that they did to the car, and so there are pros and cons to it for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, I think that's all I have for today's episode. Yes. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we need to do this again. This was a lot of fun, and we have so much more to talk about.
Totally. We'll bring the boys next time.
Oh my god. So they can talk about landing an airplane.
They'll just kick us out of here and have a bromance
It'll be their own, they'll take over the podcast, but it's fine. But yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode, and of course, we'll see you next month. Bye, honeys.